impossible to have that conversation. I'm really sad about that, which is, it might not have anything to do with me going and seeing the prequels, except for the fact that it really is a commentary on, I think, what the prequels have done to the legacy of Star Wars in general. And one of the reasons why we had the Echo Screen Live topic that we did about Star Wars. It just fits after having that kind of a conversation. Interesting. But think about that, guys. Lastly, I want to point out, Man with a Harmonica talked about the idea of the experiences of home versus the experience of theaters, and is it really worth it? Is 3D really worth it to send, to go yourself or to send your children or whatever to see Star Wars in the theater? And I would agree in answering with a resounding no, because of the fact that home viewing has changed so drastically in the past 10 years, right? In the past 15 years, really, the home theater experience has fundamentally been altered. You can have tremendously theatrical home movie experiences that rival those of theaters. I understand it's not like seeing a giant DLP screen in all of its wonderful digital glory, but it's close, right? I mean, you can, and plus you don't have to worry about all the people that are just yelling and screaming around you, or, checking their freaking phones. And don't even get me started on that garbage. You guys all know the pains of going to watch a movie in the movie theater these days. It sucks. You just, it's one of those things, like if you walk into a movie theater and you're sitting there watching people doing all the stuff that they're doing, they're taking away from the movies, you're saying to yourself, gosh, I can't stand people. Why don't I just watch this at home with people that I enjoy watching movies with? Hello? That certainly screams to me, if I were going to watch one of the original one of the prequels, I should say, which I don't know why you would, but if you said something like that, you would say, you know what, I'll watch that at home. Because I don't need to go to the theater, and I especially don't need to spend a boatload of money to see it in 3D, right? All right, so maybe I'm getting into my own little comments at this point, but I agree with all of you guys, and I have to agree with all the sentiments in general of you all. I'm not going to go see this movie. I'm not going to go see any of them that are re-released in 3D because I have no interest in doing that. But let me give you a big, fat secret, guys. There is a perception in Hollywood, in marketing, in TV, in film, and really everything, business in general. And it's not that I'm not. Look, we've thought about this before at the Clan of the Grey Wolf, right? So I can't say that it's wrong. I'm just saying there is almost a mythological status to this particular argument. In order to put something back to the community, in other words, recycle something, you can't just recycle it. You have to add something to it. You have to kind of spit shine it a little. You have to give a little more sheen to it, or a little more sexiness to it, right? In order to sell it back to the people that have already bought it once. That's the thought, right? So the thought is, in order for everyone to go back to the theater to watch Star Wars, you're going to have to repackage it and do something crazy. Well, what's the thing to do that's crazy right now? Put something in 3D, right? Right. So the thought is, in order to re-release these movies, they have to re-release them in 3D. Or they have to release the special editions. Or they have to do a remastering. Or they have to add stuff. Whatever the case might be, right? Because in order to sell this film, you know what's going to happen. You're going to see the ad, which is cheesy, about, oh, it's experience everything all over again. Cool. Experience everything all over again. What's the gimme? What's the catch? Now see it remastered. Now see it with better sound. Now see it in 3D, right? The point is, guys, Hollywood and everybody else in the world thinks that you have to re-release these movies with some kind of sizzle in order to make it sell again. I gotta tell you, I'm not so sure that's the case. After seeing many of you talk about here on the forum, or not on the forums, even just in the video, although we talked about this in the forums before, I thought about it myself, and I have to say I absolutely agree. I don't think repackaging is in order here. Repackaging is in order to sell DVDs in 3D. Yes, got it. But if George Lucas re-released the original theatrical versions of Star Wars, I said this on the Echo Screen Live, if he re-released those in the theaters, you bet your ass I would be in line to see those movies. And I would spend the money to go to the theaters and see a movie I've already seen again in its original theatrical form in the theaters. You heard it here first. And look, if anyone of any kind of influence is watching this right now, I beg of you, go help us get that to happen, because I will see the movie again. I have no problem putting money in George Lucas's pocket, guys. Please don't get me wrong. George Lucas is a brilliant cinematographer. He is, and I know that's debatable. We talked about that in the Echo screen. George Lucas is at the very least a wonderful editor. Okay, George Lucas has been in the film business for a long time. He deserves the admiration and respect of us all, just because of the fact that he came up with the premise of Star Wars, right? And so I pay him that. And lining his pockets is not what I have a problem with. What I have a problem with is the films themselves. So if George Lucas re-releases the original movies in their original theatrical version, guess what? I don't even need all the remastering. I don't even need the retouching. Show them with the sticky blue film all over them that you had in the films back then. I don't care. You know why? Because the movies are so good, I would love to go see them again. And if any of this is resonating with any of you, stand up with me and shout about it, because if they don't have to repackage something so good that it speaks for itself. And guess what? Star Wars is so good, at least the original movies are, that they speak for themselves. Did I get it there, guys? Can I get an amen? Anyway, rant over. So you get my point here. I'm not going to go see these movies in 3D, but I think a lot of people will. I know a lot of people will. You can see from the numbers of the opening weekend, so on and so forth. People have definitely spent money to see these movies, and will do so in a long time. For a long time coming, I should say. I hope, though, that many of you out there who do love this film franchise won't do it. As Astolia said, if we just stop watching it, then there's no audience, and guess what? No problems, and these things don't get re-released. So, there you have it. A nice little snapshot of what I think about the re-release of Star Wars in 3D, and I guess as predicted, it's not a very good experience. Okay, now we have to transition to the question for next week. And I thought about this for a little while, because many of you have been sending in great ideas for questions about the Weekly Wringer that you'd like to see us talk about. And, I add them. I add them to my list, my giant list of Weekly Wringer type questions that I've had for a long time running now. And you know what's cool? I've got a lot of great questions. Some of them I have to adapt, some of them I can ask just as they are. But I love getting suggestions, and I love taking you up on them to prove to you that I do listen to what you post to me. Even if I don't respond to you right away, I do read everything you guys send to me. I'm terrible about responding. I am a very busy person, so it's difficult for me to get that stuff in sometimes. But which is what keeps me available to shoot the Weekly Wringer, by the way. But, so here's what I'm going to ask you for next week. And it comes straight from someone that sent me comments that I wanted to be able to respond to. And it goes a little something like this. What is your least favorite video game genre? Now, as with every Weekly Wringer, I want you to give me a nice explanation as to why. And I'll be honest with you, this question really intrigued me, so much so that I have to think about it a lot myself over the coming week before I film the next video. So I just wanted you all to know that as well. I will definitely be taking my time to think about what this all means myself. So, think about it. What's your least favorite video game genre? Let me know why. And as always, I can't wait to see what you guys come up with for next week. Thank you all so much for watching the Weekly Wringer. I am the Commodore from the Clan of the Grey Wolf, and there is no reset button.